Get started here in just a second, everybody. All right, everybody. Hey, welcome to week 4 of your note implementation coaching calls here. As always, Scott Carson, excited to be with you today. Today's call is a bit of a recap a little bit for you guys and really what you need to be doing. It comes down to really one tool that we use. I'm going to go through that in a little bit, but one of the things you've got to keep in mind is that like everything that we say is that it's great to reach out to asset managers. It's great to reach out to investors. And knowing what you're doing is one of the most important things to do, and do it on a regular basis. Because if you don't do it on a regular basis, guess what? It's a waste of time for what you're doing. I speak all the time to investors that get on the call. Like I had a conversation back and forth with kind of a guy on Facebook this morning talking about, oh yeah, I took some training a few years back and it was all on the nuts and bolts of a note and stuff like that. But they didn't show me any way to find it. The only way I was able to find it was I had to buy notes directly from them, or I was limited to what their website offered. Okay. I'm not like that. I want you to be able to go out and find deals yourself. I had another conversation with a group that's looking at maybe funding a platform. And I said, well, you don't need to just rely on a few deals here. You need to be reaching out and targeting sellers on a regular basis, people that have notes. It's just not the big funds. It's investors like you and me that are available, because we will have deals available. We have portfolios. We have stuff that we've bought ourselves over the years, right? But unfortunately, a lot of people don't see that aspect. I had another call with a guy today. He's been a mortgage broker, mortgage banker for 20 plus years. I said, that's great. But what's happening now? He goes, well, the market's changed. I have to look to do something different. And when I talked about the marketing, he literally like shut down. Well, I don't want to have to market. And I'm like, how are you getting business? Well, I was word of mouth. I've been this for 20 years. I was like, well, that's not working for you. Okay. That is not working for you, obviously. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having a phone call. So you need to have a come to Jesus phone call or talk with yourself. If what you've been doing the last 6, 12, 18 months is not working for you, guess what? You need to change and start doing something differently. That's it. If what you ain't is working and isn't working anymore, you got to do something different. And guess what? You got to invest in yourself. You got to give itself time, but you have to start putting the pieces in place to make things happen. It doesn't matter if you're the most awesome ROI calculator if you don't have any deals review. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work if you have the best available website ever if you have nothing to look at, if nobody freaking sees it. I had another guy that reached out to me. Well, what about owner finance notes? I'm like, well, that's great, but you're going to have to do a lot of work to find them. Mailing out letters to people that originated notes 6 months ago is not effective use of time. He wanted to argue with me. I said, well, you can argue, the numbers don't lie. What makes more sense? Mailing out 50 to 100 letters to get a 1 to 4% response rate, not close ratio, response rate. And they probably don't want to take a big discount versus getting a list of banknotes that you can get every month, every quarter. That may be 5, they may be 500, somewhere in between there, on a month in, month out basis. I mean, in the last week alone, we've looked at 340 notes. We looked at another 40 that came in yesterday. A bunch of smaller tapes, 1, 2, 3, onesie twosies, along with bigger pools, stuff like that. It all comes down to, how do we get those deals? Is that what you want to know? How do we find those deals and not have to send a single letter out? Not to put a single stamp. It comes from understanding it's the 21st century. It's 2024, not 1994. Okay. When I graduated high school back in 1995, the internet had been around for a couple of years, but it's pretty much brand new, right? When I started buying notes, started getting into the note business, the market was a total different aspect of things, right? LinkedIn was around, YouTube had been around a little bit, stuff like that, but it was a totally different aspect of things. I used to have to make 50 to 100 phone calls a day to get stuff sent to me. You don't have to do that now. It helps, but you don't have to do that to find product. If you want to find product, go on and start connecting with the asset managers on LinkedIn and pick up the phone, start calling, start looking at conferences that host these things, and start connecting with people that attend those conferences. If whether it's in person or going to hang out at the bar in the lobby, you're not paying for the conference, or see if they have a list of people that are going to be there and start reaching out to them. Or do like we teach in our workshop and literally go and download a list of mortgage bankers, servicing companies, and start picking up the phone and down for dollars, or guess what? Sending an email out to them once a month. Now that's the biggest thing, is that monthly thing, not once, and that's it. I didn't say that. I said once a month at least, because 80% of sales are made after the fifth contact. Fifth contact, ladies and gentlemen. And that comes the same not only for finding note deals, but also raising capital. You have to understand the fact that those two things go hand in hand with your online marketing. It goes in online with your outreach. You could be the smartest person in the world, but if you don't know how to market, you ain't going to get anything. It doesn't matter what niche you're in, real estate, notes. It doesn't matter if you don't understand the fact that you have to market. And that's what today's call is all about. Really understanding and putting systems in place to help you know what the hell to do. Because let's face it, have you ever gone to a conference and been all excited and gung-ho, and I'm going to do these things, but then you come out on Monday, you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I remember all these things I was supposed to do, but where do I begin? What do I start doing? You know, raise your hand. Give me a heck yeah. If you're watching this live or catch the replay, give me a hell yeah in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube or stuff like that. Yes, you have to start doing things. So once the thing that I did, I know we cover a lot during our 3-day workshop. If you haven't attended that live, and you need to do so at notebuyingfordummies.com or go to the website weclosenotes.com and get signed up today. But there's one tool that we have used, and we've been using this for a long time. Of course, we've tweaked it and edited it to make it kind of more up to date in 2024 than when I even started using something similar back in 2008. But when I was a banker, actually, this is something else. When I was a banker for JP Morgan Chase, when I was also working for, basically Smith Barney, also when I was a pool technician at Port Royal Condos, we had a checklist of activities that we had to do. We had to track our activities. When I was at Port Royal Condominiums, I had to chart what I was doing every 15 minutes so they know what the hell I was doing. Wasn't that I was just back in the break room, just chilling, watching TV or sipping on cold beverages. I was like, okay, for this hour, I went around and scrubbed mold. This 45 minutes, I walked around and cleaned trash. This hour, I watched the freaking slide, whatever, you know what I'm saying? So that was pretty easy. I understood what, they're like, okay, great, that's perfect. When I became a banker, JP Morgan Chase and a few other companies, even like Verizon Wireless, others, they have a system like a customer, not really a service, but a sales tool they called 5-Star. It was different technology, but they both called it 5-Star. And it was in the follow-up. It would give you daily activities with your clients. And if you're a banker, you'd have a book of business assigned to that branch. People that live nearby that have mortgages, or they have car loans, or they've got an account where they have like one or just two things with that bank. And your goal was to get them on 3, 4, 5 things. And you get paid for everything. From as simple as setting up direct deposit or set up online banking, you would make money off of it. Selling a credit card, getting them to do a loan, whatever it might be. And I was like, this is literally just printing money. You're literally giving me a list of clients to reach out to with their phone numbers and emails. So I would do that. I would literally spend time. I would come in early and I would stay a little bit late to make this work. If it was before hours, I would send an email to these clients. Hi, my name is Scott Carson. I'm actually your local banker at Chase. I'd love to talk to you about your clients and set up a time for you to come in and visit. I think there's some things we can do to help you do a better job. And I would have to go through and probably, actually for about every 20 people that I reached out, I'd get 1 or 2 of them to come in. It's just that 10% close ratio. All right. But those people that would come in loved it. They had somebody they could call. They had somebody they could reach out to. And it was beneficial to me because I could get them sold on other things, other products that the bank offered that helped them. It wasn't just selling them something they didn't need. Or oftentimes I say, well, you don't need this. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Or let's adjust this so you're in a better account, that kind of stuff. Okay. It was the same thing at Verizon Wireless before that. You get a list of people that were on your list in an area that either had an account, they had a cell phone subscription that was expired, they were out of contract, they need to renew, maybe they need a new phone, and you just pick up the phone and call them, and you got paid the same on a renewal as you did on a new origination. It's always easier to keep a client than versus go get a new client, right? So they would always ask me like, how are you getting so many renewals? I'm like, I'm just using 5-star. I'm using the tool that you gave me to spend 30 minutes to an hour each day to pick up the phone and call. When people were on their lunch break or take their lunch break, I would go take my sandwich and I would go and make phone calls for that hour to people. And people would come in and request me. That's how I became the #1 sales guy for Verizon Wireless. That's how I got these perfect scores in sales stuff, because I took the tools they gave us to make money and used them. But everybody else is like, oh, I don't want to do that. That's extra work. Same thing. Oh, I don't want to call. I just want to chill out here. I'm just going to take what the good Lord gives me and walk in traffic. I'm both places. I'm like, no. Here's an opportunity to make money. If a lot smarter people have allowed me to use this, then I'm going to do this. Okay. You have to realize, ladies and gentlemen, that 99% of people aren't going to do shit. And you continue to not do shit and get the same results, which is a bunch of nothing, right? Okay. If you do something and fail, you're actually still further ahead because you've learned that doesn't work, or you're tweaking it and you're moving the needle along. And that's what you have to realize with your outreach and being a real estate investor. It's not an overnight success. You have to build momentum. You've got to build an audience. It's the 21st century. Okay. And if you're working another job, you got to take time. We got a question here from somebody. Joshua asked the question, hey, Scott, would you recommend calling banks on foreclosure notices, or would it be a waste of time? So that's a great question, Joshua, because one of the things that we used to do is would get a list of foreclosure. What state are you in, Joshua? Let me ask you that question. Where are you located in the country? Because that will have a little bit of a relevant factor to how I answer this question. So like I'm in Central Texas. We have a fast foreclosure auction, right? 21 days, really fast. So when I would buy a foreclosure list from the foreclosure listing service, or RODI list, it'd be 300, 400 people in there. So you're in Texas. What part of Texas, Joshua? You're in DFW. Okay, so you're probably targeting Dallas County, Tarrant County, and Collin County. So one of those counties, you buy the list, you're going to get a list of banks, right? List of the banks, the lenders on that stuff. What you want to do that list is immediately get rid of the big bank names, like delete them off, because they're not going to sell you a one-off note. And the whole goal of this list, okay, isn't the actual assets, the properties on that list. It's not. Because once a bank in Texas is basically sent a note to the foreclosure process, they're just going to send it to the foreclosure auction. They're not going to waste their time. You might be able to bid afterwards if it doesn't sell, but for the most part, they're just going to list it with a realtor and it doesn't make sense. So what your whole goal is to find notes, right? So you get rid of the Bank of America, the Chases, the Citi, the Wells Fargos, the Deutsche Banks, the New York Mellons, HSBCs, IndyMac Bank, One West, any FDIC stuff, any of those bigger banks, just go ahead and delete them off so that you're left with a list of smaller to regional banks, okay? In your smaller to regional banks, those are the ones you're going to have the better luck with getting on their list. Now, if you see where the bank is like a lender or even a private investor, that's great. Call up there. You might be able to buy that note if it's a private investor, because oftentimes you'll see people who have an IRA or an LLC foreclosed on another person. Maybe they made the loan, maybe they own or finance the property and they're not getting paid. So you might be able to buy the note. But the whole goal, once you get to the smaller bank, like Eagle Bank or Preston Road Bank up there in Dallas is one, too, is when you get to these smaller institutions, smaller banks, then you call and talk, ask to speak to the secondary marketing professional, okay, or the secondary marketing department or the special assets department. And you want to get their list of everything in the state, okay, or everything across the country. All right. Hey, what do you have on your books that you're looking to sell in the next quarter? Residential, commercial. If you leave a voice message, then what I would do is send an email. If you can find the right person you want the voice message for, or on LinkedIn, send a message and you use the address on the foreclosure list as your hot button. Hey, I'm just calling to see if you might be interested in selling this debt or the note in this one. If not, would you be able to send me everything that you have that you're looking to sell in Texas or across the country? I wouldn't waste your time with servicers. Servicers can't make a damn decision. Okay, they're not going to sell you the notes. Like I'll give you an example, like Nation Star or Mr. Cooper. That's a dead end and a waste of time. So no, don't call the servicers. Not going to happen. Okay, they're not going to make any decision. They can't sell the note. They're just robots servicing the note. Okay, so that's what the things that we do. But here's the thing: doing it, you got to do that more than once. Okay, if you just make 10 phone calls and give up on it, then you just wasted time. You've got to realize it's a follow-up process. That's why if we pull a foreclosure list, yes, we'll make phone calls. We'll try to track down the right person on LinkedIn. We'll also try to track down the right person through an email if we can find it, or calling the main corporate office for that stuff. And that's why we leverage, we'll leverage, oh my gosh, laneguide.com. We'll also leverage, LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, stuff like that. If you've got the name of a person or the department name, that's one thing to look at. But the smaller institutions, not the like the one-off banks, they're going to be too small and can't take a discount. But your mid-sized ones, you can often, if you go to LinkedIn and look like special asset manager for Preston Road Bank or Preston Bank or Eagle Bank or IBC Bank, International Bank of Commerce, that's here in Texas, you can often find the right person in charge of special assets. And that, like I said, but that list, whatever in that county, if you're looking Dallas County or Tarrant County, where those top 5 are, use that one. Say, hey, I saw that you've got these 2 that you're foreclosing on this month. I didn't know if you'd be interested in selling the notes, or would you have a bigger list of stuff that you're getting ready to foreclose on that you might be interested in selling? Okay, that's exactly what I would do. But those activities, and thank you for asking that question, Joshua. I mean, we go through this. We did a whole podcast about this. We did a Note Night in America about leveraging foreclosure lists a while back with Jack Zagunis from Foreclosure Listing Service. It's on our, you can listen to our podcast or look on the YouTube channel as well. And we talk about doing that and how to kind of take those foreclosure lists during our 3-day class and break it down for you. But here's the thing, there's activities that you can do. That's a great activity to do if you want to just focus in an area, okay? The whole thing is don't limit it just to your state. Limit it, say, hey, what else do you have across the country? You want to make it as easy as possible for the asset manager just to hit the download button and send you the spreadsheet. When you start getting specific, like, oh, I want a thing in Austin, Texas, or anything in the Dallas area, this is somebody who's probably out of the state. Just get them to send the whole list to you that they have available, and then you can be the person that filters through it to find the stuff, okay? But the activities that you need to be doing are stuff that can be done most of the time after hours, and things that you do on a weekly, daily, monthly basis, all right? Let me share this tool with you. So this tool is called our 30/30 Marketing Matrix. We did a whole Note Night in America episode on this a couple month or 2 ago. And honestly, this is the #1 tool because it outlines kind of things that simple things to do on a daily basis, things you need to do at least once a week probably, and then things that you do on a monthly basis. And all of this is an Excel spreadsheet that you use with the days of the month on the left here. So we're talking May of 2024. May 1st is on a Wednesday, so you can always adjust this by month. And then you got the activities that you want to be doing when they should be done. So like daily, posting a real estate article to your socials. I mean, pulling something out of housingwire.com, dsnews.com, Yahoo Finance, whatever you see, sharing that article to your socials is pretty easy to do. You can do it literally while you're sitting on the toilet in the morning before your coffee's kicked in and sharing via your smartphone, okay? You want to be leveraging Octopus and leveraging that using LinkedIn to grow your LinkedIn following. LinkedIn is still the #1 tool. It's still the easiest way to connect with asset managers. Not sending out 100 letters. We don't do any direct mail marketing to get deals, okay? So reaching out to asset managers, secondary marketing professional, whole loan traders, chief credit risk officers. There's like 5 titles: loan portfolio, note investors, 6 lists that you can create and start connecting with people on Octopus at 20 to 100 people a day. It all depends on what kind of membership you have, but starting that outreach to them, and we go through that in day 1 of our workshop, okay? Looking at what other people are posting about articles is a great way to start building your network. If you like, there's a guy, Jake Sharp, that I follow, does a lot about commercial real estate. Michael Jimenez from Exchange.Loans shares a lot of stuff. about some of the commercial notes. Bobby Rebell, who used to be on MSNBC, is a friend of mine. She posts interesting financial articles that I'll go and comment on and share things. Okay. One thing that we've talked about during the workshop is you can use Bigger Pockets to go on there and post articles, or you can go on there and do a keyword search and start reviewing, not a lot, because let's face it, BP is a dumpster fire. Okay. It's a stage 5 dumpster fire. Too many people have too much time on their hands. They go on there and comment on everything. It means they don't have enough time to work. Okay. So when you go to Bigger Pockets, set up your keywords like notes or 50K to invest, 100K to invest. And then when you log in for 30 minutes a day and just look at those comments, any new conversations, and then just reach out to those people. Hey, I saw that you posted you got 50K to invest or 100K to invest. You're looking to do something. This is what I do in note investing. I'd love to talk with you. Okay. And then same thing, looking at your connections, maybe some group posts on LinkedIn, just going there on a regular basis. That's a daily activity. You can do that at any given time, 30 to an hour in the morning, in the evening, in the afternoon, while you're on the toilet, during your lunch break, in your car, while you're hating your job, your cigarette break, whatever it is. That's the thing to do. Now, the weekly activities, you've got to fill this in around your schedule. Okay. Set up Buffer and Hootsuite posts. This is stuff that will automatically post if you use buffer.com. Hootsuite's more expensive now, but buffer.com is free. If you go in once a week, you can set up 5, 6 days, 7 days of social media posts and schedule it so you ain't got to do it. So that's one thing to do. Email your investors, your database, people you've met. I don't care if there's 5 people on your database or 5,000. We've all got a stack of business cards at home. Put them in a spreadsheet, upload them into a CRM, whether it's MailChimp or Keep. It doesn't matter. Do something to start emailing out to people on a daily basis. I have to give a big shout out to Don, who's on here. Don, you've been reaching out and doing some marketing. You sent me an email this morning. I think it was that you've got 2 investor phone calls lined up. One guy didn't have much, but another one does, and it came from your marketing basis, which is beautiful. I'd love to hear that. Congratulations to you, Don. Okay. But that's the same thing. Send an email out. Like usually we'll send out an email on Tuesday with some sort of valuable content, a deal that we're working on, a new podcast episode, a new article, a new tape. It just varies on what we do. Or just, hey, happy Halloween or whatever. What is it? We got Memorial Day coming up. We've got Mother's Day. We had Easter. Okay. An email that goes out once a week to your audience. Hey, if your audience is more local, like I'd be willing to bet more of you are local than nationwide, like mine are. Hey, I got the local meetup group, local real estate investment group that I go to, which, I know most people want to talk about real estate investment. Here's a great place to do it. Come out and learn it. I'll buy you a beer. Okay, whatever. And then send that same follow-up 48 hours later to those that didn't open the first one. Those are 2 things that are pretty easy to set up. Okay. Writing an article, sharing, saying, basically you take your email almost that you created in your CRM and then share it to LinkedIn as an article. Okay. Do a little Facebook Live. This is so free and easy to do. A little live video. Hey, I'm working on this deal, or I'm standing here on my back porch, my coffee in the morning. Here's some things that we're working on this week. Here's a deal that I did in the past. Whatever. Just start sharing and creating content that leads to people starting to follow you. And what happens is those that start paying attention, those will be eventually investors or word of mouth referrals for you. Okay. Take that same video you record on Facebook, download it and upload it to LinkedIn, or reshare it as a short LinkedIn live video. Okay. Upload a little video about a deal that you've done or you're working on or a deal you're reviewing. These are all great things that you don't need to be anywhere. If you're out looking at a property, record it. I got a buddy of mine who's an amazing realtor and a great guy, but he's starting to have to get into marketing. His warm referrals have dried up because the market's changed, right? So he's starting to do video. I'm like, how often do you go show houses, or do you go look at houses? Oh, I go look several times a week. I'm like, well, why don't you just film walking through that property? Yes, you're out there showing it for your clients and take the video so that they can see it later, but it also becomes a video you can share on social. So, I like that deal. I like that house. I'll contact Steve, or I'll contact Mike to see about maybe buying that house. Tell me more about it. Okay. Meetup groups, posting in meetup groups or attending a meetup group once a week is a good thing to do. Going to your keywords. We talked about that. Secondly, you do that a little bit daily review, but posting and updating on at least a weekly basis. Okay. Same thing like posting different articles. If you like being on podcasts, talking about deals, that's a great way to do it. Cal Ewing's been on a couple of podcasts and raised about $250,000 to $300,000 private capital from other people's audiences. Okay. Posting in groups or sending an email out to Octopus. I mean, there's so much great things you can do on a weekly basis to get the ball rolling. Reaching out to asset managers on a weekly basis. What do you have on your books? Okay. You haven't seen me put anything on here about contacting or calling banks. You can, but I know most of you aren't going to do it. On a monthly basis, there we go. Send an email out to asset managers and a follow-up email 2 days later. Hey, what do you have on your books we can get rid of? Calling asset managers, making 50 phone calls. There you go. There it is. Should be done on a monthly basis. And these can people that have already opened your email that you sent out. Hey, just following up so they open my email. Just looking to see, making sure you're the right person to talk to. Okay. You can do a lunch and learn, either go to another meetup group once a month, go to an event, host your own lunch and learn via Zoom. Hey, I got a deal that I'm working on. We're going to break down the deals on this potential funding partner. Here's the thing. Yes, we do a ton of online marketing. Okay. But it all comes back. There was 2 words, two times. Well, I'm going to say 3 times, 2 in 1 weekend. Going back, this goes back to 2000 and it was about 2006 or 2008, maybe it's 2010. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's about 14 plus years ago. Okay. And I go to an event, and there's Kevin Harrington, one of the guys from Shark Tank, and he gets up there. You got to be sharing your stories, sharing it with video, taking a short video. And this is where cell phones were coming out, and they had some limited ability. But because if you do any type of video or YouTube stuff, that's going to be valuable to you. Well, then I heard it a few years later. Robert Herjavec. This was an event in Vegas that I went to, and he got up there. He goes, all these platforms are going to video, have a video concept. People like videos because it builds rapport faster, and it's going to attract their eyes to what you're doing, whether it's a picture of a property, picture of your product, or you just talking about it. It's going to attract people to stop the scroll. Okay. And then I heard Gary Vaynerchuk in that same event with Robert Herjavec come back and say, listen, just share. You're not going to go viral. Most of you are not going to have more than 10 people join in on a regular basis at any given time. But those 10 people are more valuable than if you had 1,000 people that didn't do any actions. Currently there are 5 people watching the YouTube live stream. Okay. The Tiana Hubbards and the Joshua Dries who get on there and comment, those are valuable. The Don McAlpins who's joined me live here on Zoom are valuable. You just need one person for it to be valuable. One person to see your stuff it makes it valuable. And this is why I always say, if you record something, just go ahead and post it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't do hardly any editing for our videos. I don't do very much editing for our audio, for the podcast, because I've done enough of it. But the point being is that people need to hear what you're talking about. They need to hear what you're putting out. That's the only way people are going to understand and know that you're a real estate investor or a note investor, you're looking to raise capital or do anything, is by sharing what you're doing. If you don't share what you're doing, it doesn't matter how smart you are, how many classes or workshops you've taken. If you don't take any action, guess what? You're dead in the water, dying. It's the 21st century, and if you don't post things and do some of these things we talk about on a daily, weekly basis, guess what? You're not in business. You're not in business. You're not competing with me. That's another thing I want you guys to realize. You all know you're not competing with me. You're competing against yourself. You're competing with other people around you, your peers. I get plenty of deals coming in. I don't need to do these videos to get deals because I've built a relationship. I got a database of 5,000 asset managers I can drop an email to. I can pick up the phone and get a list sent to me at any given time that I can review. Some of those I can share with my students. Some of those I can share with my WCN crew members. Others I share with my one-on-one coaching students. Because, yes, you need to prime the pump. I know when new people get rock and rolling, it can be very dissatisfying doing work and not seeing a lot of results. But I promise you, if you start doing these things and you give yourselves 90 days of doing things on a daily, weekly, monthly, you will see activity. You'll see responses. You'll see momentum. But you have to do more than just the bare minimum. Too many people want to just get by doing the bare minimum, not doing anything. And guess what? That's why we have 99% of people that don't do shit. That's why we have people complaining that I don't make enough money. Well, if you don't make enough money, guess what? You get out and do something. We still live in the greatest society ever to have a side hustle, whether you want to work for, you know, DoorDash or Uber or work for yourself. And there's still a great system. There's still plenty of great deals out there. I don't care what people talk about interest rates or whatever like that. There's plenty of deals to be done, whether it's subject to deals or non-performing deals or owner finance deals or distressed real estate. There's still plenty of opportunity out there. You just got to change or tweak your thing. What was working a year ago, you've got to change. That was working 5 years ago is totally different. Look at all those apartment syndicators that are going out of business because they're evaluating business the same way that they were 5 years ago or 3 years ago, and it definitely changed on them. I think we can all agree to that. Okay. I don't have cash. I don't have any money. Guess what? Go raise you some. Well, my investors want to see deals. Great. Go find some deals and pitch the deals to your investors. This is not difficult, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pretty simple thing. How do you find deals? You got to market. How do you find investors? You got to market. Market, and consistent. Keep up with it. If you're going to be a real estate investor for longer than a year, guess what? Keep marketing, because the stuff that you put in now will work for you a year from now, 2 years from now. It builds that momentum so that you're around. You don't maybe need to do as much marketing as you used to, because guess what? There's plenty of people out there that now know who you are and follow you or are willing to invest with you because that you've stayed around and you keep staying around and consistent and consistent and consistent. That's the whole thing of success, is being consistent in something, doing something and doing it again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Ain't rocket science. But what is a failure is when you jump from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. All this doesn't work. Well, you got to give yourself time for success to kick in. And that's what I'm trying to share with you guys on this, is this 30 by 30 marketing matrix. Give it 90 days. Every time you do something, all you got to do is go put a little check, a little one. And at the end of the month, go down here and add up all your ones to figure out what you scored. And if you've got more than 30, guess what? You still failed, but 30 is better than none. You got 2 a day. Guess what? That's 60. You got a D. Okay, you're on the right track. You do 3 things a day on average. That's a 90. That's an A. You should see some good stuff happening. All right. And we've helped so many people take this and apply this to give it to their VAs to help out. So they delegate it, but they still got to do some things themselves. But this is the blueprint for success right here. Daily, weekly, and monthly activities to help you take your business to the next level. If that's what it all comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. Marketing for deals, marketing for money. If you're not going to do one of those things, guess what? The other thing's not going to work. And relying on like a Notes Direct or a Paper Stack or Revolve Capital or some other holdings company that's got like 30, 50, 100 notes, maybe. That's great. That's a good place to kind of start and prime the pump, but it will not sustain a business long term. For you to be a long-term note investor, note buyer, you need to go out and hunt and kill yourself some stuff. That means the marketing to asset managers, whether it's through emails or LinkedIn, or pick up the good old 1,000-pound phone and making a few phone calls. That's what you have to do to find success. How do you raise capital? You target investors, you network with people, and you do it again and again and again. That's all that I have for you guys. It's a pretty simple aspect of things. Life is not meant to be fair, but it's fair for those that show up on a regular basis, because I'm not lucky. Okay. Some people would say I'm luck. I'm the dumb luck of the Irish, right? I'm not lucky. I'm just consistent, so that I am lucky when things happen and opportunities arise. Guess what? I'm standing there and things fall in my lap because I show up. I deliver. I'm consistent. And that is one of the biggest things that you want to do for anything. You want to be a good employee? Show up every day. You want to be a good husband or good wife or spouse? Show up every day in your spouse's life. You want to be a good father? Guess what? Or good mother? Show up daily in your kid's life. You want to be a good cat dad? Show up daily. Make sure your cats are fed every day. Okay. You want to be a good investor? Show up and network daily. Make offers daily. You want to get plenty of product in? Reach out to asset managers. Reach out to Deal Flow and contact or share your message, your knowledge. Most of you are more educated than 90% of the people out there, but you're not sharing your knowledge. because you're embarrassed or you don't think you know everything. Well, guess what? You don't know everything. You're not meant to know everything. Most teachers in America that are teaching our youth only know one day ahead of the time. Yeah, some of them have been doing it for a year, but new teachers, guess what? They learn the lesson the day before they teach it. All right. One of my coaches, so he goes, yeah, I'm not very knowledgeable in this stuff. I basically do my own homework the night before I teach something, so it's fresh in my mind and I can teach it. And that's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to make life-changing income as a real estate investor, note investor, cash flow, or find deals at bigger discounts than most people are saying and turn those into big checks for you, that's what it comes down to, cash flow and big checks. Guess what? You've got to market. You got to make offers. You're going to have about a 10% close ratio when you start off with, but make offers. Go make some offers. Go find some deals. Go where everybody else is not going. All right. There's plenty of inventory out there if you will just start sharing what you're doing and marketing on a regular basis. And I'm about talked out on marketing today, but it comes to those things, being consistent and delivering a game plan. Maybe you don't like some of the things I talked about. Well, guess what? Put something else in place there. You can lead a horse, but you can't make them drink. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. I can take you. If you're thirsty and dying of thirst and dehydration because your money's drying up, your investments are going to shit because you ain't found anything, you ain't flipped the property, can't find a decent deal, give up. That's what other people are doing. Oh, interest rates are too high, so I'm not going to go buy any rental property. Then go do something else. Go do sub-twos. You ain't got to go traditional bank financing. There's an answer out there. You may just not like the answer. You may not like what you're hearing because it requires you to go back to school, to get mentored, to learn something new. And that's the only thing that's constant between death and taxes is that things are changing. All right. So if you want to change, you want to learn about the note business, hey, reach out to me, talkwithscottcarson.com. We've got amazing classes. Obviously, some of you have been through them. We've got a great monthly membership. It's the biggest bang for the buck in helping you out there. And we have the really awesome one-on-one coaching that's designed to help you close deals, not talk about deals. We close notes, babies. We don't talk notes. We close notes. And that's what we're here for. All right. So like we just uploaded a list of some non-performing reverse mortgages to our students. We uploaded a list 2 weeks ago of 345 for our students to take a look at. Stuff that wasn't on any listing platforms. All right. That's your choice. So you can dial for dollars and try to track down that one-off note or that disgusting property in your neck of the woods or stuff like that. That's fine. But that's one deal. You can mail out letters to people that have owner finance a property and see if they'll respond to you. But that's one deal. I'd rather make money working less and not working so hard and have repeat deal flow. And that's why I like buying banknotes because they have stuff on a regular basis. Yeah, you got to do some work. Got to set some things up, but that's like everything else. All right. So anyway, guys, that's all that I have for you on week 4 here. It's all about taking action. We can sit here and talk about how they have the best perfect pitch book and all this other perfect stuff. Perfection equals broke. Get out there and take some damn action. That's what it comes down to. Taking action and being consistent in it. And that will solve. Everything else will fill itself out. But those are the biggest things that you have to worry about is the action takers, things that are going to move the needle, the big rocks, not your checklist of check off all this other little bullshit. That all will fill into the cracks, ladies and gentlemen. Focus your day each day, Monday through Friday, and getting 3 big things done. Everything else will fill in around those. Those 3 big things should be your marketing and either finding deals, raising capital, or sharing your message. All right, everybody. That's all that I've got for tonight. Have a great week. Like I said, talkwithscottcarson.com, talkwithscottcarson.com to book a call with me. And check out our updating class schedule at weclosenotes.com under the training tab. Go out, be safe, and we'll see you at the top. Bye, everybody.